Hi everyone, welcome. It's been a couple days since I checked in on my African night crawlers where I was trying to bait the mites that are in those bins out, and I've been using fruit up until now, but something that someone suggested was to give bread soaked in milk a try. So I've got some bread here. It was very old, just sitting around. I even threw it in the freezer so as to prevent it from getting moldy, but I think I've finally come up with a good use for it, which is going to be to try to continue with the baiting of the mites. But since I'm out of cantaloupe, I'm going to go ahead and give this milk-soaked bread baiting approach a try. I don't know if I put a little too much in there. It's possible, but whatever. My idea here was to get that bread really nice and soaked with milk. I'm just going to let it sit for a while and then take it down to the wormery, and, well, I guess we'll get a chance to see how many mites have collected over the past couple days. And the assumption is that it's still a requirement to try to keep getting them to come out of the casting so I can toss them. And yeah, I won't be trying to rinse this bread, so I'll just be throwing it away once the mites collected on it. And I've got a whole bunch of it remaining in the freezer for future applications and resets. So let me give this stuff a little time to soak in, and we'll regroup down in the wormery to check on the African nightcrawler systems. The milk-soaked bread is coming along. The outer crust of it, the brown stuff, was really dry, so I turned it over to let that stuff sit down in the milk, and I thought that more of the milk will get sucked into the bread, but it's fine if this is the most that it can absorb. It's only these two pieces of bread are going to become our replacement bait now, because there was you know what? I'll put on a glove while I'm talking. You can see the outline of it right here. I'll take the plastic off in the meantime. Oops. The cantaloupe rind shows virtually no signs of any of the meaty, fleshy portion of the regular melon remaining on it. I think it's just the outer rind. And these chunks are pineapple. And the worms are still coming to these chunks of fruit. And so are the mites. You could definitely see mites cruising around on the melon. I don't really see any cruising around on the paper. In the past I had rinsed the paper off too, because that had a lot of mites on it as well, but in this case it looks like we've pretty much just got mites on the cantaloupe. And even though we're switching out the bait, this isn't really going to be the bait so much anymore. I still wanted to have something to rest those damp pieces of bread on, and even here, since it doesn't have like signs of having been nibbled through yet, maybe I could even just throw that remainder of the milk right in there and just have it sitting in its own little pool of milk. And it'll probably just get really sour and stinky, and that's probably what it is that the mites are going to be most interested in coming over for. Now on the back side of the paper I am seeing a pretty good number of mites, even though on this side it didn't seem like there were any or many. So I mean, I saw a couple, but I think we'll just take the paper along and we'll give that a rinse as well. Everything will be used as it was in here when we first arrived, except now there's also going to be bread added. Okay, now you know what? I'm wondering if I should just do the same with the other one. Fetch the stuff that needs to go to the sink and make one run over there. Try to save a minute or two. Here we've got a little different situation with that plastic covering things up and a good amount of moisture occurring. The other thing that happened in here, a little different, is 4 days ago I did finally feed this bin after almost a month. For this bin, it's still 31 days and counting in terms of when it last received food, but I was just starting to feel pity for the ones in this system here, because the system did seem like it was just getting so darn dry. Downright dangerous, I would say, for the worms. So I just really wanted to give these little guys a break. So, didn't think to look too much, but this piece of paper, I don't see really any mites on it. Or on here. We are in the system where we had noticed a good reduction of mites, but we weren't expecting the situation to be completely remedied yet, and that's why there's kind of a reloaded bait station here, even though this bin has more or less gotten back to normal from the perspective of having received a feeding 4 days ago and having its plastic coverings and its moisture recirculating again. Here, I think we've got a little bit of mite activity here as well. Let me see if I could just drop off the worms. Well, you can already see, in addition to the worms, this piece of cantaloupe also has a bunch of mites all over it. Okay, let's see if we can do the same with this other stuff here. Sure, why not? Looks like we got a good number of mites hanging out on that too. We'll give that a rinse. And might as well do the same for this one too. All this stuff will come back freshly rinsed, and it'll become the foundation for putting on our fresh, new bait milk-soaked bread. Do I need to rinse this one? Maybe we're putting bait out again, so the mites will just come for that at this point. We don't have to go crazy splitting hairs. So we'll be right back. This is the one we're not going to bother rinsing, but we will rinse this one over here. So let me take care of that. Come back once I've got all this stuff rinsed. So I have to definitely make the observation here that I've probably seen the fewest number of mites on my bait here today as I've seen so far, which is really a positive sign, and that's for both bins here. I mean, we did have mites for sure in both, but I would say that in both we also had a reduction from the last time we were in here. So we're going to apply one portion of this stuff to this system. Like I've done in the past, I'm only trying to sink this down below the surface of the material so that when this plastic goes on top again, that it's not going to just be propped up on a chunk of food or something. I'd like for that clear plastic to rest pretty flush up against the material that it's resting on. So besides nice big chunk of bread, which I guess I hope it works. It's all new for me. This is the system I suspected there to be more of the mites in. So we'll put a little bit more of the bait in there. It's actually just an equal amount, I guess. So here too, we're going to set it up equally. Get it down low so we can have a nice flush plastic covering. And you know, in this one it doesn't matter so much, the plastic covering is not doing such a huge job since the entire container gets covered in plastic again now. But still, it's kind of neater that way, so let's see how it rests. Yep, nice and flush all the way around, touching down. Turn some of these fairly tattered pieces of paper, barely staying together anymore. And the one thing that's really helping things get back to normal here as far as moisture is concerned throughout the bin is the plastic covering. The nice juicy moist feeding they received 4 days ago is hopefully helping a little bit too. Breaking down, releasing its moisture out into the other materials and making things nice and comfortable in here again. Here too, the whole idea is to be able to rest this flush. It is kind of propped up because these chunks of bread are a bit large. At least they point up a bit. I was able to crush that larger one that was kind of sticking up. Now everything's flush here too, and I don't think there's anything else. Yeah, no coverings here, just this one isolated covering so that not only the food, but also the moisture is attracting the mites. But yeah, I think we're really making progress finally, and I'm really curious to see how the bread does. It's first for me trying the milk-soaked bread, so see how that goes. All right, everyone. That's it for today on the ongoing saga of getting rid of the mites out of my African nightcrawler systems. If you enjoyed the video, and I hope you did, please remember to leave me a quick thumbs up. That's always really appreciated. And if you haven't done so already, please consider also subscribing to the channel too. That's really appreciated as well. All right, everyone. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.